Hey everybody, welcome to the Nomads Nation podcast, episode 2. Today we are talking about one backpack, the Able Carry Max, live in a conversation with Bo Ismono and Roland K. Smith. If you want more information about the Able Carry Max backpack, you can find it in the links below. And if you want to make a purchase at any point in time, we do appreciate if you use the first link in the description. It just helps support this podcast to make sure we can keep making awesome episodes like this. Bo, welcome to the podcast. How you doing today?
Thank you very much for having me. I'm good.
Awesome. Roland, I'm sorry I screwed up your name for a second there, but I got it the second time.
You can call me
Roland,
Roy. That's all right.
I think
I'm
Roy
doing
works
good.
for you, actually. Have you guys ever thought about, like, if you had a second name, like what would you like to be called?
Yeah, it wouldn't be Roy. That's for sure.
Take that one out.
When my wife and I got married, we wondered if she should take my name, keep her name, or we come up with a new name. And the new name that we came up with, which we didn't go with in the end, was Springsteen.
Oh, that would be.
Is that an homage to Bruce, or
the
is that
Springsteen?
just?
Of course,
Absolutely. Bo, any aliases that you go by when you don't go by Bo?
No, but I would love to have something like Danger or
Danger.
Bo Action Ismono, something 80s related. That would be cool.
Yeah, it seems on track. It's funny. We're in a group chat with some of the other bag reviewers, and Odie got called Pablo, and I'm just jealous that he got his own nickname now. You know, so we gotta work on our nicknames apparently. But one step at a time. Before we work on nicknames, let's work on talking about the Able Carry Max. And what we're trying to do is have the bag actually in hand, gentlemen. Raise your chalices. Do we all have the Able Carry Max physically present? Nice. Bo, I think you're the odd man out with the black one.
Yeah.
Roland, is it the navy?
I think this one's called Ocean Blue. Actually,
Ocean Blue
is what they call it. Yeah.
Much more poetic. I like that. The Ocean Blue bag. It matches your Ocean Blue denim jacket. Rocking the denim again. We're both actually rocking hats today too, Roland. After having really impressive hairstyles last one.
We became very self-conscious.
Clearly. All right, guys. So let's talk the Able Carry Max, and this is our second time doing an episode like this. But let's start with just some. Let's see. Let's look at my notes real fast. Let's start with some context. Bo, what's your experience with the Able Carry Max been so far?
It's an amazing bag. I really like it. It's very comfortable. It is much more spacious than I personally anticipated. It is.
Can I ask, Bo, just for clarification, what has been your experience in terms of like timeline? How long have you had the bag for? How much have you tested it out? How much experience, one-on-one time have you had with this bag?
I actually owned this one is the pre-production model, and I also owned the final version, the green one. I don't have that one in hand anymore.
That's Earth Green. That's what they call that one.
Is it? Really?
Well, then, Roland, what's the black one called? Is it like Night Sky or something?
That's a good question. I reckon it's probably just called black, but if you give me 2 seconds, I have the webpage open. It is Tarmac Black.
Tarmac Black. Okay, it rolls off the tongue quite nicely. 10 points for Able Carry with their naming game. So you've had the bag for about a year, Bo. Have you had the chance to actually travel with it, or just sort of testing it for reviews?
Only in Germany. I did a couple of one-nighter or two-night trips, either to my in-laws on Christmas 2 years ago. Was it Christmas? Yeah, but trips to my in-laws. So by car, then a trip to Frankfurt by train for work. Yeah, so small little 1 to 2 night trips. And for that, it worked very well.
Awesome. And Roland, your experience is you're a little bit more fresh with the Able Carry?
Yes, I'm doing the first impressions again this time. I've only had it for a couple of days. Not my first Able Carry bag by any means, but the first time I've had the Max. So yes, coming in with the first impressions, only loaded it out a couple of times, tried a few different things, obviously checked it out, but already have some opinions. So it'll be interesting to pit my experience against Bo's. And Aaron, what about yourself?
I'm around where Bo is. I got this bag about a couple years ago, I think, and it's been one of my favorite travel bags. We'll kind of double click into that throughout this episode, but I've taken it on a few trips. Most recently, 5 days to Seoul in South Korea. So it was colder weather, so I packed the shit out of it, and it was a really lovely travel experience with the bag. But Roland, I like that you kind of have a different perspective on the bag. That Bo and I have had a bit more, a couple more notches on our belt in terms of travel experiences with the bag. But you're coming in a little bit fresh, and it's a different perspective. So I think that with the three of us, it'll be interesting to kind of see everyone's different perspectives. On that thought, Roland, you mentioned you've reviewed some Able Carry bags. We did Evergoods last week. Some Able Carry bags. Talk to me about like your experience with Able Carry as a whole so far. What do you think about them? What's top of mind when you think of Able Carry?
Yeah, I think just great bags at a great price. Really, I think that they have the daily bag and the daily plus, and the difference between those two is only a liter, but that's a really good day bag. And I think 21 liters holds its shape nicely, sort of does everything that you sort of want it to do in a bag. It's comfortable. I liked it a lot, and I really like the colors. I think the colors are very nice, and I've had a little bit of communication with the brand as well, and really nice people.
Yeah, for sure. Funny story, actually. So for those who don't know, I'm actually based in Hong Kong, and Able Carry is based in Hong Kong. We just moved into a new office in an area called Lai Chi Kok. It's an industrial area in Kowloon, and Able Carry's office is like right over there somewhere. It's like a 2 minute walk away. I don't know exactly where. I asked them where, and they wouldn't tell me, probably intentionally. But I will find out, and I will visit their office hopefully one day. But what about you, Bo? Thoughts on Able Carry as a brand? What's your experience been with them so far?
I just want to kind of say I don't have the bag for a year. I actually had the bag since 2021. Like
Okay,
I'm kind of surprised how fast the time goes, and it seems like I kind of forgot 2022 and 2023, but obviously
it was
since
a bit of a
COVID and
clusterfuck.
everything, yeah. So yeah, it was actually one of my favorite bags in 2021. Now that I looked
Awesome.
at my analytics and go looking at Able Carry overall, I totally agree with Roland, but also I think they are a very solid recommendation for bags, be it daily. I'm not too big of a fan is the wrong word, but the Daybreaker is not. It's a great bag, but it's not for me because I
Agree.
don't do any hiking but I rather have a bag that kind of protects my computer or my camera. And I feel like the Daybreaker is the only outlier in their whole setup that just isn't for me. It's a great bag, but it's not for me. But the Daily Plus, the Able Carry Max, for me personally, all three are very easy to recommend because they are well made, they look good, they are extremely comfortable to carry with the A-frame on the Daily. It's I always thought that yeah, it's a gimmick, but from my experience, it's not. It works actually quite well in terms of
Well,
distributing the weight.
what are you referring to
Sorry,
right now? You're just saying the A-frame in particular kind of felt a little gimmicky to you?
in the beginning, yeah, when I
Mm.
got the bag, but we are not talking about the daily, so that I'm not sure.
Hmm.
That's the
Well, no, I
But
think that's an interesting point. Go ahead, Roland.
the A frame, if I've got this right, that's what I was referring to when I said it holds its shape.
mm.
Is that what you're talking about? The structure?
Also, yeah, I feel like
Mm.
the A frame holds the structure, but also kind of I'm not sure if it actually contributes to the actual weight distribution of how it is on your back, and therefore it feels more comfortable. But I feel like Able Carry overall is one of the brands that has very good comfort when fully loaded, especially on the Able Carry Max. It also has an A-frame, but it's not as pronounced as on the daily in terms of that you actually notice it. But I felt that the Able Carry Max fully loaded is actually very comfortable for a 30 literish bag.
30
Yeah,
liters.
I have a sneaking suspicion that comfort for this bag might be sort of a recurring theme because it's just it's a really comfy bag. For me
Yeah.
though, with Able Carry, I mean, I totally agree with you guys' sentiments. Yeah, I agree that the Daybreaker, not my cup of tea, but I respect the shit out of it. I know that it's just a bag that they're like, hey, we want it to be outdoors and lightweight as possible, and they achieve both of those goals. And you guys didn't even mention the Able Carry 13, which is actually like my favorite small backpack. It
Oh,
is just
totally
a
forgot.
joy to wear. It's just a little guy, 13 liters, and it's my go-to because of its versatility. And Bo, you said something really interesting about Able Carry, which I agree with. They're just so easy to recommend. They're not super niched down into one particular thing, like Go Ruck with rucksacking, or Able Carry products that look good in the office. They have the X-Pack exterior, so they work great outdoors. They're just a really great sort of general brand. And I always thought they were the most underrated carry brand
Yeah.
out there, but I think that they're starting to get their due more and more. I'm starting to see them on more lists, they're getting the acknowledgement that I think that they deserve at this point. Roland, would you agree with that? Are they still underrated? Are they
Yeah.
overrated?
I mean, I think that they've had probably a bit more work to do than some of the other brands. Like they're not American made,
For sure.
They're made in China, which to this day even holds some like negative connotations, and that's of course like not the case. China manufactures things at every level, and
Hmm.
Able Carry is like one of the great examples of Chinese manufacturing,
Hmm.
um, and and the quality holds up to just about anything else that we'll talk about on this episode and last week's episode. So I think that once you get your hands on it, or once you hear somebody talk about it, then you really need to be paying more attention to what they're doing.
For sure. And they seem pretty confident. I'm always on these guys' websites, like all the different bag brands that we talk about, and they're one of the few ones that advertise a 2-week test run. Now, obviously, all brands have a lot of these brands have a 30-day guarantee, money back or whatever, but Able Carry front and center on their website, 2-week test run, try out any bag for 14 days. So it speaks to confidence for what they're doing, and I think this bag is a great example of that. And on that
They
note,
also have a lifetime warranty as well, which I think is really a really good sign that they're backing what they're doing.
100%, yeah. Yeah, is it actually a lifetime? Do you know the
It
specifications
is,
of that?
yeah.
Is it
Um,
against all right, so guaranteed against workmanship defects for life. If you got issues, get in touch and we'll sort it out. Yeah, I mean that's yet again another indication of their confidence in their build. And yeah, Roland, I'm with you. Like products made in China, they make some of the best products in the world, some of the best bags in the world. Bellroy's produce bags there, Air bags are produced there. So made in China is not a negative connotation for backpacks, I think, in our opinion. Bo, would you agree with that?
Yeah, same. It's hard. I mean, I do understand where people are coming from, especially considering the rise of shops like Wish, Temu, and stuff like that. And those, I mean, people are voting with their wallets, right? And since people are buying from those sites, it kind of underlines their perspective or the general thought of Chinese products are cheap, but you shouldn't generalize. I mean, obviously, if you buy from Wish, you get Chinese products that are not well made, but then there are brands like Able Carry, for instance, who produce in China, and they make great products. So it's this stereotypical thinking that sometimes gets put into the mix, and you kind of understand sometimes where it's coming from, but you buy cheap, what's the saying, buy
you buy
once,
cheap, you
cry.
buy twice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I think it's kind of unfair sometimes to say that everything that you buy, or to have this general saying that all Chinese products are bad, because obviously, and I know I'm probably getting into hot water by saying this now, there are some American products made in America that aren't that great. I'm sorry to say. You can't just say, oh, it's made in America, or it's made, let's say, made in Germany. I drove a Volkswagen once. That thing broke down all of the time. I'm not saying that all German products are great. Only because it says made in Germany, that doesn't have to mean anything. So, or I had a washing machine from AEG, also a German brand, broke down after 2 years. So it's, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
kind of, it's a hot
some
take. It pisses me off sometimes. Just
Ralph Lauren, right? Very famous clothing brand. They have a bunch of labels. One of their high-end labels is called Double RL, and it's extremely respected by, like, people that dress very well, and people have a lot of money because their stuff is very expensive. We're talking like $3,000 for a cardigan, made in China, and like it's buy it for life stuff. So they can pump it out.
Those are great points all around. And, when it comes to China, I think the reputation comes from somewhere from, decades ago when they sort of specialized in, move fast, cheaper products, quantity over quality. But that's just been changing over the years in so many different industries. All your, the iPhone is a really great product. Sorry, Bo, I know you might disagree with that, but the iPhone's a hell of a phone. That thing's made in China.
Well built.
Yeah.
Exactly. The able carry bags are made in China. iPhones and able carry bags. Well, that's all China needs on its resume, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So,
but we are the issue as a society. I mean, this is now totally political and ethical or whatever you might call it. But we as society, we are the issue. We are voting with our wallets. If you buy cheap products from wherever they might come, then you are, I'm sorry to say, at fault for supporting cheap produced products. And then you're I believe you're not supposed to say, oh, that's a cheap product because it comes from country X or Y. No, you bought cheap. So that might be the issue and not where it's coming from. Because if people wouldn't buy cheap products, then some countries wouldn't need to produce cheaply, or there wouldn't be a demand to produce fast and cheap throwaway products, in my humble opinion. And
No, I think that's an interesting take, and for sure. I mean, obviously, different people have different financial situations, so they, not everyone can throw $300 on a backpack, so they might have to get the cheaper version. But yeah, I mean, more or less, I think in the, I think a lot of what we're trying to do is educate people on how great our industry is, these bags, and it sometimes kind of sucks to bite the bullet and spend $250, $300 on a backpack, but you buy it once and you got that lifetime warranty, and that really helps sort of take the edge off, I think, that price point when you got a bag that'll last you 5, 10, 15 years, possibly a lifetime. So on that note, I kind of want to talk about, this bag in particular. Bo, I'm going to start with you.
Yes.
Pick whatever you want on the bag. What do you like most? Let's hone in on your number one favorite aspect of the Able Carry Max.
Ooh. I don't have it anymore, but probably I think the green version and the overall looks of the bag. I think it's a cool looking bag.
So wait, why'd you if you like the green so much, why'd you get rid of the green and keep the black? I'm sorry, the earth green and keep the tarmac?
Because I had too many bags, and therefore I gave the green one away. I didn't want to give away the pre-production model. That one is staying with me, but the final version,
so a bit of a collector's item in that sense.
No, I don't think I'm allowed to give it away because it's a pre-production model. So therefore, I kept it.
Got it.
But obeying the rules,
yeah. And I just didn't want to have two bags of the same at home, so I gave away the green one, the production version. And I mean, Aaron, you know it best. I see it in your background. We have too many bags. And at some point, we have to get rid of some bags, especially if there are two of the same ones.
I know.
So yeah, but going back to your question, I think the green one looks amazing. I like the shape of the bag. It looks cool. It looks apart, but it's not in a way that is, I don't know. It doesn't draw too much attention. If I have expensive gear in it, it doesn't draw too much attention to it, but still it looks cool that people in our niche would acknowledge, oh, that's a cool bag. That's what I really like about it.
I love that. So for your answer then, are you saying sort of it's the aesthetic, but it's sort of it's low key, but we'll also be like, that's a good looking bag, isn't it?
Exactly. And this might be a hot take. I love hot takes. I do like to recommend Air. Air have great bags, but for me personally, I like to recommend them a lot because they fit a lot of people. But to some degree, for me, from a visual aspect, they start to look a little bit boring. Therefore, I prefer Able Carry at the moment, or not at the moment, for the last few months, that I prefer to recommend more Able Carry. I think they are on par, Air and Able Carry, but Able Carry looks a little bit more apart from other brands, especially the Daily with this kind of slanted shape and everything. It
That little, yeah,
looks
that little
cool.
diagonal cut in the front. I
Yeah,
mean, the
exactly.
Max even has it a little bit. It's a little less
Yeah.
pronounced on the Max, but still, you see that. I mean, and I'm a fan of a little off-center play like that, just to kind of
Yeah,
give it a little edge, a little attitude.
exactly.
And I think I'm gonna take that from there, Bo. And I'd say the aesthetic is probably my second favorite part of the bag. I'm gonna take the boring route and just say the comfort because it's just well padded shoulder straps. I mean, they're not too oppressive necessarily in terms of their width, but they're well padded. They have a robustness to them without necessarily feeling like it's a scratchier material. So you got the sternum strap, you've got waist straps that are available as an add-on. So I do agree as a close second, the aesthetic for me, Bo, but I'm going to go with the comfort as my number one favorite feature. But Roland, what about yourself? What's top of the line for you with this bag?
Well, before I get to mine, I just want to make a note on that front slash pocket that we were just talking about.
Please.
And again, not having used the bag all that much, but I think that also, as well as being a very distinctive design cue, might be functional, because if you've got it on your back and you sling it round, you don't have to reach as high up. I'm trying to demonstrate while also talking to the microphone, so it's a bit funky, but you
did a great job.
You don't have to pull your arm up quite as high to get to that access point. So it might be also functional. Now, my favorite part of this bag, and as soon as I got it out of the box and I opened it up, I said to myself, that's what I was talking about with the Evergoods.
I know you're going with this.
So I'm going to say my favorite part is all around the materials. I think the materials are great, but the inside liner, which is a 420 ripstop, it's like a camel color almost, or like a very light brown, and it's got pattern to it. So it's interesting. And it sort of gives you a sense that it's quality as well, because there's some texture to it. And it just catches the light in a certain way. And then that because it's ripstop, it's also going to have some extra durability. So between that, the stretch mesh is really nice. It's YKK zippers. They've got a number 10 zipper on the main compartment. But then you also have this mix of like 3 different materials, or 2, I suppose. You've got X-Pack, I think the VX21.
I think it's VX21, yeah.
On the black and the blue, and then it's X42 on the green.
Oh, okay.
And then also Cordura or ballistic nylon on the back. So it's like this interesting, and the bottom as well. So it's like this interesting mix of materials, and then as you were saying, Aaron, like you can just feel the thickness in even the top grab handle, like it's really chunky. So I guess just the overall materials just feel really great, and they're interesting.
Yeah.
Roland, I love everything that you just said, because sometimes in my reviews I want to talk about fabrics for like 10 minutes, and my videographer Margaret's like, Aaron, shut up, stop talking about fabrics for 10 minutes.
No one cares.
Exactly, but I do, and I agree with your analysis of the bag's materials and fabrics as a whole, but particularly this lining, 420D, which is a bit thick for an internal lining in a bag, let's be honest. But
I reckon there's bags out there that have 420 as their main external material, for sure.
Of course. Oh, 100%. I mean, the bag that we're looking to make for Fyro is got like a 330D on the outside. So, I mean, this material on the inside of the Able Carry is thicker than the one that we're looking at for the backpack that I'm building. But just this cream color, it's gorgeous. It gives a feeling of like luxury without being overly, trying too hard or sophisticated. Bo, do you share the vibes that Roland and I have for the materials of this bag?
Yeah, I think the materials on this bag are great, and they add to my favorite thing of the visual appeal of the bag. I feel that obviously the material is what you're looking at, and therefore it is what makes the bag. I mean, the looks are made out of the shape, the color, and obviously the fabric, which gives the whole bag its texture, and therefore I do think that the fabrics are amazing on this bag.
It's I'm curious to hear what you guys are going to say for the last one of the last points where we're going to talk about the price point. But I don't want to skip ahead to that just yet. But not every bag is perfect. So we talked about our favorite things about the bag. Bo, is there anything in particular about this bag that you're just not crazy about? Where's the weaknesses?
The weakness is it has the bag has a lot of compartments in a way to organize all of your items. So I have two smallish gripes with the organization. Before I go into that, I think the amount of the compartments is great. I always tend to say if it's too many compartments and too many slots, it kind of forces me to rethink my packing strategy. But I think with this bag, it's okay. It's a little bit too much, but it's still okay. So what I don't like is the front quick access compartment here. It has these two slots to kind of organize them, but I would have loved if they would have been sideways, like on the Evergoods Civic Access. CTBs. No,
the CPL.
CPL, yeah, on the CPL, where the slots are vertically aligned and sideways. So if you swing it around, you can see the items better, but also it distributes all of the items in a vertical space. Now it's kind of difficult to get into this one slot in that compartment whenever you have something in there. That is something that I don't like. Then in the laptop slot, we have this, I don't know what you call it, this little pocket here in the back panel where you have 4 stretch pockets in here. These are only good for camera in my experience, for camera batteries or smaller items like AirPods, charging cases, or maybe a smallish battery bank. But other than that, I feel that these are pretty much useless. And again, underline my saying that the more slots you have, the more you kind of need to rethink your packing strategy, because I don't know how to utilize this. Yeah, I can put in my camera batteries in here and maybe SD cards or maybe a thumb drive. But other than that, I don't really know how to utilize these properly for my loadout. So I like that they added these in some way, but again, it just underlines my saying that it forces you to rethink how you want to pack and what you want to pack. Yeah, I don't know how to use these actually.
That's an interesting take. Roland, is that in line with perhaps your cons of the bag, or you got a different angle?
It's similar. It's also to do with the pocketing. I think it also depends on what you're going to use this bag for. And I'm sure that we'll sort of talk about that, because at 30 liters, it sort of falls in that middle ground between, it could be an EDC bag, could also be a travel bag. So this issue that I have with it might not be an issue if you're going to use it as a travel bag, but it would be an issue for me for an EDC bag. And that is that some of the pockets, particularly the sort of secret pockets that they have, are so slim. And there's 2 of them. There's one on the back panel, and then there's also one on the, I guess, left or right side, depending on which way you're looking at it. And they're so small and so tight that I think that they would be hard to use. And if you were going to use them for quick access, because that's sort of where they're positioned in the bag, the things that you would want, there would be things that you would want to be getting in and out of all the time while you're in transit, or like while you sort of, it's sitting next to you at your desk, like your AirPods or your keys or your sunglasses. And they just feel too tight for me to be able to sort of access easily or worry about what I'm putting in there because that might get sort of crushed by other loads. So that was sort of my vibe with that as EDC. But if you were using it as a travel bag, well, then maybe those places are great places to stash your passport, because you maybe need it once or twice. But when you're not using it, you want it somewhere that is really quite difficult to get to.
For sure.
So that was sort of my initial thoughts.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that you guys bring up some really good points there. I think we're all sort of aligned with just some of the pockets. Like, I do think that this side pocket is just it's got an interesting design to it, as to where like it's long. It's like, so we have the water bottle pocket on one side, which real fast, yay or nay? Do we like the internal, external? It's a very unique approach to a water bottle holder.
I like it.
Bo, what do you think?
I like it.
I like it too.
If you remember the episode last week, I don't like external water bottle pockets. So having this internal water bottle pocket for me personally is great. But I do get that people dislike it because it limits the size of your bottle that you can store. Although on the website, they actually store a champagne bottle in there. So it is very spacious. Nevertheless, it will eat up your main compartment's volume. So I get that people don't like it, but me personally, I like it a lot.
Roland?
Pretty similar feelings here. I like that it keeps the clean silhouette of the bag. It doesn't look bulky, and people shove all sorts of hideous water bottles in their pockets, and so for the world to see, this keeps it private, which is as it should be. But it does eat into that capacity. So if you were counting on this as your travel bag and you wanted to sort of make use of every bit of room, that's going to cost you, and you'd have to consider what size water bottle you wanted to take with you. But nevertheless, it's a clever solution.
Very clever. And, as opposed to just like a bag where it has just the water bottle pocket on the inside that's not accessible from the outside, this kind of gives you a best of all worlds. You are compromising capacity in the main compartment, but that aside, I love this solution. It's not without its cons, obviously, but while I'm a big fan of the pocket on that side, the water bottle pocket, the other side for me, I just don't really know what's intended to go in this other pocket. Like you said, Roland, it's a little bit more of a longer pocket. It scoots down. Like, I just don't know what sort of quick access things I'm going to want to put in there. So as I've traveled with this bag,
it's got loops as well.
It's got some daisy chains, to connect things to. So the intention of this pocket is it's a mystery to me, and I've never utilized it. It just kind of sits there, and I wish that I could figure it out, but I haven't been able to yet. But at the end of the day, I think
when you finally get an invite to Able Carry's head office, you can ask them. Say, listen,
fingers crossed. I should just yell out the window. They'll probably freaking hear me. Hey guys!
Oi!
So I think we're on the same page with that. I mean, really just some of the pockets are a little mysterious in that sense. But overall, it's I think it's slim pickings when it comes to trying to pick the cons of this bag. But let's go ahead and kind of take it on one bit at a time and do some ratings. I just like ratings, like numbers. It stirs the pot up a little bit.
Ratings are so difficult.
I know, but we're gonna do it.
Can you start with Roland? Because
absolutely.
I realized that whenever Roland says his number, I kind of want to change my number. So maybe I do it like in school. I'm just gonna copy Roland's numbers.
Yeah. Roland, can you do us a favor and just tell us what to think? So,
sure.
The first,
my kind of show.
The first category, aesthetic, on a scale from 1 to 5, 5 being the best. Roland, what do you give the rating for the aesthetic of the Able Carry Max?
Yeah, it's a solid 3.5, and I think it looks really appealing. It has some visual interest. It's one of those bags. I always say this on the Rushfaster channel when I'm walking through a bag, that I'll just love that classic backpack silhouette. When a backpack looks like a backpack, and this looks like a backpack. I mean, is it the sexiest thing in the world? Probably not. Like, it's playing it quite safe while still managing to be interesting. So I think it's a solid 3.5, and I could give it a 4 even, and I'd still be comfortable with that.
Bo, does that help give you some idea of what your rating's going to be?
Yes, it does.
Me too.
It does. I think you're totally right, Roland. It is playing it safe. Therefore, Are we giving point numbers, right? So I can say 3 point something.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm gonna go with 3.8.
3.8. Okay.
All right.
3.8.
There it is.
Because it is playing it safe. If I would say that Air is, I'm really sorry, Air. I love your products, but I kind of have to say it that way. Air is kind of has become a little bit mainstream. So as I said, it is so easy to recommend Air, but it is a little bit boring and big air quotes. So if I would say those are at the 3 scale, but Able Carry isn't as that much different, but it is still cool looking. Therefore, I'm giving it 3.8. It needs.
Okay.
Oh, but if it's just a green version, I would give it a 4. But overall, as all of considering all 3 colors, I would give it a 3.8.
So
I
we have
do like the
3.5.
color versions more
Mhm.
than the
Yeah.
black in all of able carries. Really, actually, the black looks a bit. It verges on that more boring territory. You lose some of the details, and the colors are just so great, especially when
Do
they hit
you?
the sun. It's really
I'm
nice.
curious then, because I was going to ask this later, but we might as well jump into it now because we kind of alluded to it a few times. What is that? Is that your sentiment for all X-Pack bags? Because I kind of feel that way with X-Pack bags in general. I'm just not a fan of black X-Pack. I think that there's something about it when it's in blue or green, or when I've seen the rare tan X-Pack collaboration. There's
Or
just something
white.
about the color. White, I'm a little iffy on the white. I appreciate the white. There's no doubt about that. But for me, I'm not an X-Pack like I'm not drinking the X-Pack Kool-Aid. There's like some people, I respond to all the comments in my channel, and there's X-Pack diehards. They won't buy anything that's not X-Pack, which I respect. I understand the functionality of it. But for me, there's something about seeing X-Pack in a Ranger green or an ocean blue or a coyote tan that just really helps to bring out the beauty of that material. Do you share what I'm thinking, Roland, or do you like black X-Pack as well?
Yeah, I think. Look, I don't mind. Sometimes I see a black X-Pack bag and I think, oh, that looks really nice. I
Mm-hmm.
think what it is though is that X-Pack has a more of a reflective quality to it. So when
Mm-hmm.
you throw a color behind it, it's much richer because like black is the absence of color, right? So if you've got color there, there's more. I think there's more tones to play with in that reflectiveness. And I guess all you sort of get in a black is that sort of is really like black, and then shades of grey into white. But yeah, with a blue or a green, there's so much depth to it, and I think that X-Pack helps bring that out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's I think possibly what you're alluding to,
Mm-hmm.
or,
Yeah, that
or
makes sense.
what is appealing to you.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. Bo, what about you? I mean, you're obviously on Team Green.
I think black X-Pack is a little bit of a wasted opportunity. I feel that the benefit of X-Pack compared to Cordura, due to X-Pack being a little bit, how you say it, a little bit smoother, and what it feels like, it is a little bit easier in my experience to kind of wipe off dirt, while on grittier surfaces like Cordura, when you put it into, I don't know, on the ground and then you have mud on it, it kind of sticks into those small little gritty things. Therefore, I think X-Pack is the perfect fabric for different colors than black. I don't think you need black X-Pack because, yeah, then you don't see it. You don't have the benefits because if it's black, it just doesn't matter if it gets dirty in a way. But therefore, I do like white X-Pack or other colors of X-Pack because if it gets dirty, you can just wipe it off with a damn cloth or a wet cloth. So yeah, I do like colored X-Pack a lot, and I feel black X-Pack is nice, but I don't really need it
Mm-hmm.
because you don't see that it is X-Pack unless you get really close to it. Okay, I'm over exaggerating a little bit. Of course, you see it, but I don't need black X-Pack. I would rather go with something brighter like the green or orange. I do like orange. I know it's not everyone's taste, and I get why you say that you are not a big fan of white X-Pack, but I feel that X-Pack is the only fabric that would allow a white bag.
Amen to that, for sure. Yeah.
Therefore,
Just
I like
thinking,
yeah.
has there ever been a multicam X-Pack? Can you guys think of ever seeing a multicam X-Pack? Because I think that would be really interesting. I'm sure there's been one. I'm sure like the Brown Buffalo have done one or something.
There has to have been one. I think.
Yeah, I think so.
There
too,
has to,
but
but
I'm not sure.
nothing's coming to mind right now. I feel like Mission Workshop. No, that's not. I got the Mission Workshop,
yeah.
but that's the Cordura. I think
something like
I
that.
don't know. Yeah, X-Pac would look sick in multicam for sure. And
I could just imagine that.
Bo, I love what you were saying about how it's interesting how the functionality of X-Pac and just how smooth it is and how you can just wipe things off actually adds to some of its aesthetic value in some ways. So that was a really cool analysis. Just while we're on aesthetic too, to wrap that chapter up, for me, we got a 3.5 from Roland and a 3.8 from Bo. I'm giving it a 4.5 because I think this is just a freaking sexy travel bag. Now, obviously, for me, a bag without a water bottle holder, clunking up the sides is going to increase that sexiness for me. I think that it is a little bit on the safer side, but I don't need or like flash in my bags, or at least not too much. And I think that little diagonal cut just kind of gives it a little bit of life. You've got some of these external lash points, which I will never clip anything on externally with lash points. It's just not my bag. But I like the look that it gives. It's a little bit of tactical mixed with a little bit of urban. I just think that from a aesthetic perspective, they absolutely nailed this particular bag, especially for a 30 liter. It's not too bulky. It's just damn, you're a good looking bag. Yeah.
Can I ask?
Do you need a moment?
Yeah, no, gotta end this a little early.
Bo, what do you think about the blue? You both have the blue version, and just from, I know this might I'm not sure how to say it. Is it from a fashion perspective? Do you feel that the blue is a little bit more difficult to kind of combine? Because I'm not sure if that's actually saying, but I believe I heard that a few times, that you shouldn't mix blue and black. So I wonder if the blue version actually kind of makes it difficult to kind of combine it with a black outfit for a meeting, for instance, or something.
No, I think the if you have a blue suit, you can wear black. You can wear black shoes with a blue suit. I think
Okay.
Prince Charles used to do it all the time. It's more formal in that sort of setting, but navy, like the color navy, which they've called this ocean blue, but yeah, it's a navy blue, yeah. or even a little bit royal, maybe. Yeah. It's like a mix between royal and navy blue, depending on the lighting. That's a really easy color to sort of coordinate.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that's. I never wear a suit, so I was I was thinking that someone said it, but I wasn't 100% sure if that's actually true. If you can mix like blue and black, and I just wondered.
But a lot of those,
difficult.
A lot of those sayings have come from socio economic rules rather than actual sort of like color theory. Yeah, so like no brown in town and that sort of stuff. But yeah, the reason I chose the blue, because they I full transparency, I reached out to them and said, hey, I'm doing a podcast with Aaron from Nomads Nation and Bo Ismono. Can you send me a bag? And they said, of course, because they're champions. And
nice. Thanks, Abel Carey.
Oi! So and they're a good bunch of guys. We review stuff on, do videos on Rushfaster for them all the time. And I have had the green before, so I wanted to check out the blue. So I really liked the green in the Daily Plus. That was a very nice bag that I enjoyed carrying. But yeah, I just want to check out the blue, and it is really nice. I think I do prefer the green, but it's a very nice blue.
Cool. Sorry, Aaron, I interrupted your scoring.
No, it's fine. That was a worthy detour for sure. Now I gotta rethink my black and blue sort of pairing and get my shit together there. But on the next point, so we got our aesthetic ratings. Let's talk about the comfort of the bag. Roland, I guess we're starting with you with the ratings. Scale from 1 to 5, comfort of the bag. Given the context, it's either a large EDC or a 1 bag travel pack. With that context, how comfortable is this bag?
You know, I I don't think I can think of a more comfortable bag, so think I have to give this a 5.
I'm I'm gonna be close there now. Let me push back on that though. So you have let me think of some of the more like comfortable travel bags, like the Air Travel Pack 3, whether they're small or the regular. It's a 28 or a 33 liter. Would you have you tested that bag?
I think I tested the first version of that one,
Hmm.
but are they up to 3 now? Are they?
I think so, yeah. But
Yeah, I
regardless,
haven't.
you have an idea of airbags and the way that they're
Oh
structured,
yeah, 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 yeah.
constructed. So
Would
you,
you put Air up there with the most comfortable bags?
yeah, I refer to it on the channel as the Air mattress experience. I love airbags. I think they're
Yeah,
so
okay.
comfortable. I love the padding. It's just it's not too robust. It's not too scratchy. It's not too cardboardy. It's a softness to it. That just feels
Yeah.
like a freaking cloud when I'm wearing it. Now, I would say these straps, in contrast, have a little more grit to them. That I might like, think that they might even be more durable because of that. But I think airbags are incredibly comfortable. Yes.
Interesting. I'll have to remember that next time I load one up. But look, so I can't think of a bag that is more comfortable. I can think of bags that are as comfortable. The ADT1, which is an Italian-made. I think it's similar in capacity. No, it's a 23 to roll top expands to 55-liter bag, right?
No. Yeah.
That's very comfortable, that bag. But
Hmm.
I think I don't think it's more comfortable than this. But what I like about this bag, in terms of its comforts, is yes, all the elements work together very well. Like as you were saying, the shoulder straps, there's closed cell foam on the back. There's an air channel there. What I like about it is, and I don't know what it is about the design that allows you to do this, but you can carry it really high on your back and it's
Hmm.
comfortable, or you can carry it low on your back and it's comfortable. And I think that's a benefit um, for the diversity of people that might use this bag, because it means that if you are shorter, and I'm not short, I'm 5'9", so I'm sort of bang on average, but like I noticed when I was looking at myself in the mirror wearing the backpack, which is, I don't know, probably not something that a lot of people do, but I know we all do it.
Hmm.
And I noticed when I had it up high how far it was above my bum,
Hmm.
which I think is a real benefit if you were shorter, that you could hitch it up and it's not going to be banging against your lower back, which is a terrible experience.
Yeah.
But then if you want to sling it sort of lower, you can do that and it still carries quite well. So I thought that was a really interesting thing about this bag, and I don't know what it is about the design that allows for that.
Hmm. So you got a 4.5, Roland. I'm gonna basically mirror that, and basically all the points that you said in terms of the comfort. I talked about the comfort of my main Pro as well. So, Bo, what about you? We got two 4.5s. What do you give the comfort?
I would also give it a 4.5 in terms of comfort, because it is actually quite comfortable for a shorter person like I am, and considering the volume and the size of the bag. But I just wanted to add something in terms of comfort that has not necessarily something to do with carrying comfort, but something to do with the comfort of lugging it around during your commute. What I like about it is the grab handles are so comfortable, and
Mm.
it's so easy to kind of maneuver the bag around in tight spaces. I wasn't flying with it, but I was throwing it into my car, and being able to kind of pull that bag out, I put the bag between the space of my driving seat and the back seat. And as I said, I'm a short person, so my seat is a little bit further to the front probably than on Roland's car, but I had space to put that bag into that little niche, but it was very easy to kind of pull it out, because with most 30-liter bags, you sometimes have too many straps on them, kind of like load lifters, waist belts, and stuff, and they kind of hook onto those little edgy parts of a car seat. But this bag is so easy to kind of maneuver around, and I feel that is something that I sometimes forget in my reviews in terms of comfort, but it is comfort, especially if you consider you are on an airplane and that thing is in the overhead compartment or underneath the seat in front of you. Being able to easily grab it, then throw it onto your back kind of adds to the comfort. And yeah,
Hell
therefore
yeah,
I
dude.
think it's a very comfortable and easy to use bag.
And what was that final rating, Bo?
4.5.
4.5, unanimous across the board. I love that. And I'm gonna take that point that you're just making, Bo, to transition to the next one, which is going to be functionality, because I totally agree with what you're saying, where like that really adds the comfort. It's not just the shoulder straps, right? And Roland, you mentioned the ventilation of the back panel, Bo, you're talking about the side handles, and you're also just kind of talking about sort of a minimalist sort of experience, Bo, which adds to the comfort, whether it's over top of the bin ahead, over top of you when you're flying, or whether it's in the car seat behind you. So from a functionality perspective, I'm also going to give this bag a 4.5. I'm taking your spotlight right now, Roland, by going first. But the reason is that's just the way that I like my travel bags. We've all reviewed a lot of travel bags, and there's two types of travel bags, in my opinion. There's travel bags that are minimalist and perfect, and there's travel bags that are just they try to pack too much in one bag. And I don't mind feature heavy EDC bags. I can get value out of that because just I'm in my zone. I'm doing my normal things, and I know where everything is at any point in time. But for me, I really appreciate and prefer significantly a minimalist travel bag, because I don't need it decked out with features. I just need to put a bunch of shit in the main compartment. It's a fit on my body really comfortably and go to my destination, right? So for me, for the next category of functionality, I'm also going to give it a 4.5, just because of it fits my travel style with being more minimalist. Roland, what are your thoughts on kind of what I said with minimalism and travel bags, and how does that work into your overall rating of the functionality of this bag?
Yeah, look, if I was rating this as just a travel bag, I'd probably give it a 4. But if I was rating it as an EDC bag, I'd probably give it a 3. Now, as a travel bag, the main gripe I have with it is actually the shape of the zipper track on the opening.
Oh,
because it's sort of it's is it a panel loader?
We're talking about to the main compartment.
To Roland? The main compartment, yeah, that's right, the main compartment. Would you call it because it's not a clamshell?
I mean,
it's not a half
right?
zip. That's the thing. It kind of is, and the point.
Mm-hmm.
But the point that I have the issue with is at the bottom, because it sort of narrows in towards the bottom rather than sort of being not quite symmetrical, because it is symmetrical, but I guess straight. So it actually creates a little bit of a constriction, I suppose, at the bottom. So you want to get a big item down the bottom when you're packing out your travel bag, and I find that this, as it sort of the opening gets narrower down the bottom, there's just a little bit more work to do to get it in there. They've done a lot with this bag, so it's probably part of problem solving with design as they sort of go. But that's the only slight I have against it for functionality as a travel bag. As an EDC bag, those tight pockets sort of make a couple of those pockets useless to me, which means that as an EDC bag, the only external quick access pocket I have is that front compartment, and that's a bit of an issue, because that means if the bag's sitting in front of me to get the little items I need out of, I'm really having to reach down or turn the bag on its side rather than just sort of like going in the top. And then the way that front pocket is set up, it also means that actually getting in and out of it, to use the organization that's in there, is a little bit of a sort of, you have to do some like wrist gymnastics to sort of get in and out. So yeah, it's lower so I guess 3.5 is sort of like my middle ground for it all up.
You've actually, you kind of talked me out of the 4.5, because you're right. With me giving it that aesthetic 4.5, because it has a sexier shape to it. It does kind of cut down at the bottom a little bit, which is sexier, but it does compromise that functionality a bit in terms of being able to fit a big ass packing cube at the bottom. That's where you want to go there. So that's a really good point. So I'm reverting my answer to 4.25. So Bo, let
this be a lesson to you, Aaron, to not go first.
It will never happen again, believe me.
It'll happen again.
Bo, last but not least, the functionality of the bag. What's your rating and thoughts on it?
It probably sounds now a little bit that I'm copying my homework from Roland again, but I do agree with Roland in terms of those little pockets that to some degree seem a little bit wasted. As I mentioned in one of the negatives, those 4 little elastic small pockets, they feel very specific in what you can put into them or what you are able to put into them. Obviously, smallish items fit in there well, but not everyone uses SSDs, for instance. For that, they're great. Or not everyone carries cameras and needs a slot for batteries. So those slots feel a little bit useless to me. That being said, I do like the main compartments. Let's say simplicity, because it adapts to whatever you want to put in there. So overall, it is a very functional bag for my loadout, but there are a few slots that I feel wasted or useless, and the main slot could be a little bit structured differently, in my humble opinion. So I would give it
Drum roll.
3.8.
3.8.
I think that's going to be my favorite number that I'm going to tattoo on my.
Now
on
Aaron
my
has to do some maths to work out.
Not my strong suit. So instead, we'll just go to the next part of the podcast. So with all that said, then guys, and we skipped this on the last podcast. I want you to get your. I think this is a really interesting part is the price tag right now, 278 USD. Bo, I'm going to put you on the spot. Overpriced, underpriced, or perfectly priced? And this isn't obviously. We all wish that bags were cheaper, right? I mean, like, we all want to save money. This answer I'm hoping is taking into consideration, what's the standard in the market, right? I mean, because these bag companies, I don't think they're, I think that they're fairly priced given the scale of these companies. These are smaller companies. They can't put in orders for 10,000 bags. They're putting in orders to their factories for 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 bags, maybe max, right? So, with your analysis of the price point for all three of us, I want to take that into consideration. So Bo, what do you think? Do you think that this is it's an overpriced bag, under, or just about right?
Just about right. I think it's a very fairly priced bag, and I always like to. So first of all, I think this is a bag that can be your partner for a very long time. I'm hesitant to say nowadays that something holds up a lifetime, not because it will break, but just because how people think. They kind of want to switch it up at some points. I've rarely see people who use something for more than 5 years. We're humans. We have the urge to buy stuff new. So I'm not sure if people actually will use something a lifetime nowadays. But if you consider like 4 years or 5 years, you can use this bag as an EDC bag. Is it too big as an EDC bag? Maybe, but maybe not. I think 30 liters is okayish to use as an EDC bag. For me, as a shorter person, maybe it's a little bit too big, but I'm not average. I'm just short. so I would say many people are a head taller than I am, and for those people, I think you can use this as an EDC bag. Therefore, you can use it basically every single day. Even if not, if you travel with it, it will hold up long. And with that in mind, I think the price point is great. Especially, and that's always the example that I bring, is if you consider you buy new sneakers every single year and you buy your, I don't know, Nike Air Force, which costs in Germany 120 euros, and you buy them every year. I think buying a bag for $278 that holds up or that you will use at least 2 to 3 years, I think it's totally okay.
Yeah, I think it pays for itself for sure.
Yeah.
So fairly priced, Bo, final answer?
Yeah.
Roland, what about yourself?
Yeah, I struggle, I think, with the pricing a little bit more. In Australia, it's $530, which is which is pretty expensive. I mean, I just looked at what you can get a new Go Ruck for, and Go Ruck GR1's about $345. Not that that's like the gold standard of bag or anything, but just to look at what else you can get for money, and then I think like some Tom Bin stuff, sort of similarly priced. So I don't think that it's poorly priced for the quality of the bag that you're getting. I think it's really great materials. It's really well made. It'll last you a long time. They have that lifetime warranty. I think it's probably what Able Carry would need to work on is their brand positioning, like convincing people that they are a brand that is worth spending that sort of money on. Is the product equal to other products that are priced the same way? Absolutely. But is the brand as loved? Is it as strong? Does it give you that sort of intangible feeling when you use it? That sort of, I think that's what Able Carry has. That's the challenge for them ahead. So yes, I guess it is fairly priced. But I could see how that would possibly impact their sales, rather than it being like, because this is a big bag. This is probably their big bag, right? Like they've got some cheaper bags, which are still very, very good, and they're four different things. And I think that they're sort of more reasonably priced, because that's at like $130 USD or something like that. It's not such a hard pill to swallow. You're getting a bag that's equally as well made. It's just not quite as big and has as much functionality. But yeah, to fork out that much money, I think when you're up against some other heavy hitters in the travel bag space, yeah, it's I don't think anybody who would buy it would be disappointed or would have regret with spending that money. But yes, it is a lot of money. So
it is. Yeah. I mean, I just want to add, I'm not saying that it is not a lot of money. I think maybe some people could kind of misunderstand what I was saying. I think it's a good value at that price, but I do get that people not necessarily want or have the money to pay that much. But if you pay that much and you will be traveling a lot, or you will use it every day, I think it's a good value.
For
Absolutely.
sure.
I mean, if you were going on a trip and you wanted to buy a backpack and you went and bought a Samsonite backpack, right? Like, I don't know what, that's probably going to cost you $100, but you'll get one trip out of it. It'll fight you the whole time, and it'll be in tatters by the time you get home. Whereas this bag could handle multiple trips. You could live out of this bag for years and it would hold up. Like, so that's the difference. Like, yeah, you're getting a high quality product.
For sure. Yeah, I
but
think
you'd have to pay for it. Yeah.
you do. I think you brought up a really interesting point, Roland, where I didn't look at the price of the bag in Australian dollars, so I'm just looking at in USD, and yeah, different regions are probably going to have different price points based on logistics and shipping and everything. So for me, 278 USD, I think it's a very fair price for this bag, maybe even underpriced if you can get it for that price, 280 USD, given the materials, the construction, the fabrics that you're getting. It's just, it's a class bag across the board. But when you start creeping, so 530 USD, I just did the conversion. It's about 530 AUD is around 350 USD. When you're paying 350 for this bag, that's creeping into more like territory. That stings a bit more. Not that I'm saying it's not worth it, because you're going to get, like Bo said, your money's worth out of this over and over again. But just based on the market right now, I guess that my final thoughts are, if you're in the States, or you can just find this bag for around 280, not sure about the shipping situation, but I think it's a pretty good price, all things considered, for the bag. And with this bag, then I'm curious then to end this convo. One last thing that we're going to just quickly chat about is, this is a 30-liter bag, which, maybe it's for EDC, maybe it's for one bag travel, whatever you guys think. But what's another bag? Let's say someone's still watching this, they might be interested in the Able Carry Max as a bag, but if they're not quite sold, Bo, what's an alternative bag that you can recommend they can take a look at that might offer similar things but give them also something different at the same time?
Difficult. Similar or
Take it however you want. Just throw people an alternative recommendation if they're looking for a bag around this size. And if you need a second to think about it, I'm happy to go first.
Now, I have two recommendations, while the second one, I'm not 100% sure if that's a good recommendation. So I start with the first one, which would be the Evergoods CTB 26, and I think there is this 31 as well. I'm not, no, 28. Is it CTB 28?
I haven't reviewed it. I don't know the size of it.
There's the CTB. Yeah, there's the 26, and then there is one that's I think in the 30s. It might be 35 actually.
Civic travel bag. Yeah, 26 and 35. I think those are valid alternatives in a similar price bracket. The CTB 26 is 29 liters. I feel that they are similar in functionality and in terms of what you want to use them for, being a bag that is a carry-on friendly bag, but also doesn't shy away being an everyday carry backpack. While the CTB has a more, I would say, utilitarian look and feel to it, while the Max is cooler looking. But the CTB has an external water bottle pocket, maybe some other slots that might be a little bit more useful, and there are too many slots that are wasted in terms of functionality. And the second one, where I'm not 100% sure if it's really alternative, but it is in line in terms of this urban look and this more looking apart, is the Boundary Supply Aaron Pro. Not, and I'm saying that I'm not really sure if that's an alternative, because for me that bag is a little bit more of a hybrid bag, because you can add this camera cube, and so it has a different target group. You can use it as a carry-on bag. It is very comfortable as a carry-on bag, but I feel that the Boundary Supply is more targeted towards someone like me who wants to carry a camera as well, or more gear. So I'm not 100% sure if it's actually an alternative to the Max, because it's slightly differently targeted.
I mean, I think it's still, I think it's still a good recommendation. I see similarities, but also kind of giving people a different flavor as well, in case there's some things about the able carrier they're not quite sold on. What about you, Roland? Any other great 30-ish liter travel bags out there that you recommend?
Yep, I would. There's two that come to mind, both Australian companies. The first one is the Alpaca Elements travel backpack, which is 35 liters and has a lot of similar features to the Able Carry. It does have an admin pocket in the front instead of the quick access pocket, and has external water bottle pockets. Comes in black and it has a bright orange interior. I think you get that in Australia for a little bit cheaper than the Able Carry Max, but not by a large amount. But then if you did need to go cheaper, the Bellroy Transit backpack, which comes in at 28 litres and can be had for around 350 Australian dollars, comes in exactly the same three colours as the Able Carry Max, actually. Called different things. So marketing departments had fun. And that is really definitely geared to just travel, though. They also do, Bellroy does a transit work pack, which is 20 litres, which sort of has a similar layout, but is made for EDC, which I think is interesting. But those are two bags that I would sort of look at as possible alternatives if you were making a list.
Great suggestions. I think I definitely agree with all those from both you guys. I'll just throw kind of a vanilla recommendation in there, but I think the Air Travel Pack 3 is, as we mentioned, is a good alternative here. Similar comfort, similar low-key vibe, not too much organization, but it does have that front admin compartment, which it does give you a little bit more pockets and place to store things. But I think in terms of similarness, if that's a word, I'm going to make it a word. I think that it's the comfort is really, I think they're pretty comparable from a comfort perspective. So whether you want a little bit lighter of a load with the 28 liter or the 33 liter, I think those are both pretty good options. So I think that's going to basically do it for us, guys. Was there any final notes, thoughts, comments, questions, concerns?
One thing I didn't mention that I really liked, and it goes back to the carry comfort of this, is that the sternum strap has a little bit of elastic on it, so that when you are doing it up and taking it off, it's sort of like it stretches for you. And I think that is such a nice small detail on the bag, and it just
really
makes
is.
putting it on and off really nice.
But have you seen that
so-
before? I don't feel that this is something special, to be quite honest.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, Bo.
I'm sorry. I didn't.
It's just a backpack. What are you talking about?
I didn't want to attack you. That was honestly an honest question. I wasn't sure if that's so unique. I didn't want to attack you. Sorry.
And it was, but no, I actually had the same thought when I was doing it up. I was like, oh, this is really nice. I was like, and I just couldn't think of another bag, because I know that some of the other bags that I use regularly, that's not the case, you know.
That's true. So yeah, I'm kind of as I said, this was an honest question. I felt when I was voicing that question, I felt that I have seen it before, but now that we talk about it, I'm not sure. I can't think of an example, which is weird because I thought I saw that. Does the boundary supply have that?
It's really interesting because Roland, I totally agree. It's a great feature, and Bo, I also totally agree with you. I can't think of a bag that has it, but also maybe all bags have it. Like it's one of those things that I've reviewed so many bags, but I haven't paid enough attention to that. Maybe it's a feature I've taken for granted, but all I can say is it definitely is a low key, pretty awesome feature on the Able Carry Maxes, to where it definitely provides that extra little bit of comfort. I'm scared to say anything now that Bo just come at me too. So
shots fired.
That was great. Well, I think on that note, we'll go ahead and wrap that one up. Guys, thank you so much for chatting. I'm looking forward to next time. Anybody who's still listening to this, thank you so much for your time. If you have any questions, feel free to let us know in the comments below. I personally respond to every single comment myself, and we'll have definitely links to any of our reviews. If we reviewed it, it'll be linked to in the description below. Thank you guys so much. This is Nomads Nation. I'm Aaron. This is Bo. This is Roland, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you very much. Bye.